How do you know that something is a travel deal? For me personally, I mentioned I have like a baseline general knowledge of like
Yeah.
how much this costs generally, especially if it's a package. I kind of like follow
Mhm.
Travelzoo to know baseline prices and sale prices.
Mhm.
But love to hear your insights on how do you know this is a deal versus just like shiny marketing tactic?
Well, at Travelzoo, we're literally pricing out every component of a trip to see what it would cost if you did it yourself, and what competing companies are offering for the same trip with the same, you know, inclusions. And you get an idea in your head, like, okay, this one has more meals than that one. Maybe we'll value each meal at like $25. You want to either go with someone like Travelzoo who's doing that research for you, or you do need to take the time to get your own baseline yourself. What I would say is the advertised price, right now, obviously the laws have made it much easier to see what you're going to pay at the end, because there are laws saying you have to include things like the taxes, you have to include resort fees, you have to include like the overall price, which is great. But the variable is going to be that kind of and up. And so you do need to be aware that if you are booking a certain package that has an incredibly low starting price, you know, the price that you might get when you call that company could be like, and here's your trip with 2 or 3 stops along the way on your flight. And that's where you're going to go, oh, you know what? If I actually factor in what I'm going to have to pay to get a better flight, maybe this other company that from the get-go is going to have a decent, flight plan for you is actually better value. So you do need to have a baseline knowledge. And I think you also really need to factor in what is personally valuable to you, because that's going to vary person to person. Some people have unlimited vacation time. Most of us do not, right? So, and no one has an unlimited vacation budget, but the vacation time is also a factor to keep in mind. So, is it worth paying a little more to have a nice vacation on the limited time you have? Sometimes it really is. I do think the long flight times, and given the chance of like getting delayed, missing your connection, that can be a huge problem if you have limited time. And if you're only going for a week and you are going to be spending like 16 hours of that either way traveling with the risk of missing a connection and then losing a day or two, I would save a little more money, go out to eat a little less often at home, and earmark that money to make sure you get the vacation that's going to suit your time as well as your perceived budget.
Absolutely. One of the things I think is so important for us to keep in mind of is the fine print. Reading the
Mhm.
fine print is
Yeah.
something that is easy to skip, especially when you see a deal and it's going to sell out and you're just like ready to go. So, what are some of the instances where it's like the fine print could really be the determining factor that says, no, this is probably not worth it for me. Let's keep on looking for something else?
I think the biggest one is the refund and change conditions. If there are no refunds and no changes, that's going to suit some people, but you have to know you might lose your money. I would say too, like for some places, it's going to be the seating. Like on a cruise, obviously you're going to care about like where your cabin is. On a flight, you're going to want to be able to choose your seat, probably if you care about not being in the middle row in the back. Those are important things too. And then the fine print can be things like if you're a solo traveler, this is a pretty obvious one, but you do run across trips where there's a solo price that looks too good to be true. And then you'll find out it's because they fully intend to put you in a bedroom with another solo traveler. So, it'll be probably, if you're a woman, they'll put you with a woman, but that also still might be a deal breaker for you. That's the kind of thing that you really need to know ahead of time.
The solo supplement used to
Yeah.
get me all the time so solo supplement, for folks who aren't aware, is pretty much where there's a supplemental charge on top of the package price or the sticker price because you're traveling solo. And there's been so many times, especially when I was younger, like it was just so hard to be able to hop on these deals because I was just traveling solo and it was out of my budget after that. So for someone who isn't aware of Travelzoo, can you let us know like what Travelzoo does and what's the difference between searching on Google or on another booking website? What's the difference? What makes Travelzoo so special?
Travelzoo is a very curated deal site for travel and experiences. So what we do is we negotiate on behalf of our members to get incredible deals on hotels and vacations and entertainment options that you might want to do when you're traveling in another place, like a fancy spa or a night at the theater. So we're not just running everything out there. We are finding the things that we think are incredible value. And then the other huge Travelzoo difference is we actually vet each of these trips or offers. And that's where, like, honestly, my teams spend the most amount of time. It's unseen labor because, on the page, you'll see we compared this to other trips and we found it saved, an average of like $968. There's a whole page of math. There's like spreadsheet behind that where every comparable trip or do-it-yourself option has been computed by a member of the Travelzoo team. So we really are proving that there is a discount. I look at these charts every day. Like, I marvel at all the work that goes into some of this. And with the hotel deals, it's the same thing. We're comparing, if you buy it off the rack, what are you going to pay? Okay. And what are they selling it for on all the other deal sites? Like, can you get this deal anywhere else for less? If you can, we're not going to run it. On Travelzoo, basically, you're getting a promise from us that this is actually a true deal. And we have vetted it and proven that it exists. You're going to get the price we say you're going to get, and it is the best price on the market. So that's the big difference. That's what people come to Travelzoo for. And then we also curate it for you. An ideal Travelzoo experience is you didn't know that you wanted to go to the Azores, but oh my God, can you resist this $9.99, for a week trip? Like, it inspires you. It's also a great source of inspiration. So if you just like travel, you can look at it, you can get ideas about new places to go. And we love to have offers that are almost just like too good to not take.
This is okay, facts. This is very true because I recently booked a Amsterdam vacation package. It was flight and hotel from New York City, $4.99. What directly from Travelzoo. Yeah. And it wasn't like, well, my mom and I do a mother-daughter trip every year, and we always are open to where that goes and where we go. And I was just so inspired to go to Amsterdam. I've been before, and the price point was something that really like just struck me. And I was like, Mom, do you want to go? Yes, let's boom, booked, and we're done. So you're so 100% correct. It inspires you to think beyond what you may consider like what you want to do. And that price, I love also that you mentioned about the spreadsheet because I didn't know that at all, but it makes sense. Like, you need to compare, you need to, all of those unseen labor, like you said, is like so powerful. So I know for me personally, I go to the Wednesday email that you send out with all the 20 deals for the week. Yes. So can you let people know what that is? And also, is there any other resources we should be maybe looking at, maybe the website or on social or other places that we can be searching beyond just that weekly email?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can sign up, you can become a Travelzoo member and receive our weekly top 20, which is regionalized. So you're going to get it based on, the zip code or postal code that you've put in. So you'll get deals that depart from your home airport, for example, and hotels in your region. You'll get that every week with the best top 20 deals of the week. But you'll also be able to sign up for emails. If there's we're not going to spam your inbox, but if there's a great deal that applies to your specific area and what you've expressed interest in, we will send you an email with that deal. We know a lot of people are not, checking their email all the time. So following Travelzoo on Instagram is a great way to see some of our top deals and a lot of inspirational content as well. And then at any point, you can go to travelzoo.com and browse our website or search specifically for a destination or a type of trip that you might want to take, and then you will find everything we've got. There's a ton of stuff on our website to discover, as well as really great stories like blogs, research we've done that tells you more about a destination or a type of travel. So I do recommend the website to anybody, and the mobile version, we have an app as well. So there's a lot of ways to access our deals.
Absolutely love that. And I'm learning so much because I usually just go to the newsletter, and I thought that everyone gets the same newsletter, but now I'm learning it's regionalized. So,
Yeah.
which is brilliant. So
Well,
brilliant.
that's another reason to go to the website because, you know, if I'm getting like the Toronto based things, maybe I'm planning an upcoming, you know, trip out west and I want to see what they were getting. So then I can just kind of search online and find that out as well. If you become a Travelzoo member, you have access to all of these different things.